I'm sure you've heard about the Creative Arts collaboration by now. In July, our theme was Love Summer Art, and this month in August, it's Pawgust, because we're doing animals for paws. I cut some butterflies on the fold, 2 of them in fact, just using a junk box that I had from the kitchen. And I'm cutting around those now to make patterns for the watercolor that I'm going to do. For the most precise cutting, holding your scissors stationary and turning the cardboard or the paper into your scissors as you cut seems to be the easiest way to get a good, solid, precise cut. That's what I'm doing here, and I didn't bother with the antenna because those are easy enough to add later, and they're just too small to try to deal with on a cardboard pattern. I only have 2 patterns that I cut out, but I'm going to trace these all over my page. I'll trace these overlapping each other on this watercolor block. This is a 140-pound watercolor by 12 inches and cold press. If I were doing something really important, I would use 300-pound paper, but this works very well for what I'm doing today. I'll start with just a Mongo pencil from my art studio to trace these. It's nothing special, just a colored pencil. And I'll trace these all over the page. Running off the page, intersecting each other, overlapping each other. Once I fill up the page with this design, I'll go to the next butterfly, the second butterfly that I cut out, and start tracing it. And for some reason, don't ask me why, because I don't know why sometimes that I do things in the middle. I had intended to trace everything with this green, but I decided to switch off so I could tell which butterflies were which, and so I switched off to just a plain pencil when I started on the new butterfly. This is just a soft leaded pencil, and I know that when I start painting it with water that I'll probably have to be pretty careful because sometimes lead, the graphite in a pencil, will tend to smear when you put water on it. This is my set of Derwent watercolor pencils, and I've had them for several years, so some of them inside have been replaced with other brands now. But I used a sunny yellow color. It was a number 3 Derwent watercolor to begin this painting. And I just used, here you can see the different brands that I have where I've run out of things and replaced them. I'm coloring in some of the areas now. I had decided to fragment it, and then I decided later that I'd go over the entire butterfly. So you'll see me make a change like I always do. I always give myself that allowance that I'm going to change as I go. So here is my first little yellow butterfly right in the center of the page, and I'm going to turn around and try to balance this color in other areas on the same page. The color really comes alive when you touch them with a wet brush. I've always enjoyed using these, especially when I travel. I like to take something with me that's easy to transport. The yellow completely dry, and then I started putting water, just plain water, on top of another butterfly, painting wet into wet. This is Playful Peony from Color Art's Twinkling H2Os. Twinkling H2Os need to be activated with just a sprit of water about 5 minutes before you begin painting. If you don't, then you don't get the intense color. I actually added quite a bit of water to this one to get just kind of some soft layers going, and then as I painted more and more layers on top of each other, you can see they brightened up. But you also need to be aware that anytime that you're using watercolors that they're going to dry lighter than they go on. I looked at my butterflies and I was thinking about doing really a lot of intense pen and ink work on it. But here I'm using my Micron number 005 to put in some details. I've already put in most of the antenna, and now I'm just putting in little curly cues to indicate the bodies of the butterflies. And I like the abstractness of what's going on here. Real pleased with the way it turned out. Lots of fun to do. Nothing too intense, just lots of fun playing with color. You might also notice that I've already outlined each butterfly here. I wavered back and forth between whether I wanted to do a fragmented look or whether I wanted to do like specific butterflies coming forward to be the center of interest, but the fragmentation won over, and I'm pleased with doing more of an abstract butterfly. I like to do them in a different way if I can. And I guess what I mean by different is different from the way I've done them in the past. I'll probably do more now that I have the patterns already cut, and I'll probably be using these again. I doubt if you'll see the same color scheme or the same pattern development that I used in this, because I'm always striving for something new and different. You know, when you're baking bread, how you set the dough aside for a little while to let it proof? Well, I like to proof my paintings and my artwork. A lot of times if I set them aside for just a few minutes, or even for a few days actually, if I'll set them aside for a few days, I'll see that 1 or 2 touches that I need to add or sometimes take away from a painting. This doodling is a lot of fun, but it's probably time for me to let my dough proof. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, and as always, a thumbs up is always appreciated. Thank you for watching.